If you just finished playing Dark Souls 3 or Elden Ring and are wondering what's next, first Berserker Khazan might just be able to fill that void. While it's not as detailed or polished as Miyazaki's creations, this title does many things right, and it won a place in my heart almost immediately. In this video, I'll review different aspects of the game based on my personal experience, and I hope it helps you decide whether or not it's worth your time. The footage was captured on PC, and I'll do my best to keep it spoiler-free. Unlike most Souls-likes, the story of General Khazan is fairly straightforward and easy to follow. There aren't many complications or layers, and the lore isn't nearly as rich as what you'd find in a From Software game. However, I don't consider that a bad thing. In fact, it's refreshing to actually know what the hell I'm doing in a game like this, instead of just killing hundreds of enemies just for the joy of it. You play as General Khazan, a former Imperial general wrongly sentenced to death. The story kicks off with you encountering a vicious soul trying to take control of your body. From there, it slowly unfolds into a revenge tale with side quests offering more insight into the characters and the world. Overall, while the story isn't particularly original or groundbreaking, it serves as a solid foundation for the game to build upon. As the genre name suggests, this is a Souls-like through and through. You've got your typical bonfires as checkpoints, a limited number of healing potions that recharge when you rest, and souls, or lacrima, you collect from enemies to upgrade your character. And yes, you lose all of them when you die. Upgrades are pretty standard. Increase your health and stamina, carrying capacity, or damage output. Depending on the weapon you choose to wield, there are 3 attributes you can focus on to deal more damage. The similarities don't stop there though. The level design generally offers a linear path with numerous shortcuts to make backtracking easier. Each mission ends with a boss fight, which is the toughest enemy in the region, equipped with a massive health bar and brutal attacks that will give you a hard time until you learn their patterns. However, if you're coming from Elden Ring or Dark Souls, you'll notice a few differences. For one, this game is significantly faster paced. Even the great swords feel like feather in Khazan's hands, allowing for fluid, high-speed combat. You'll need to adapt quickly to this pace because enemies are just as fast and relentless. Dodging and parrying are heavily emphasized, reminding me a lot of a game called Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Because to beat the bosses, you have to learn their every move and dance with them. This was, hands down, the game's biggest strength. The execution was nearly flawless. Once you master dodging and parrying, the game starts to look like an action-packed anime with you as the badass protagonist cutting through waves of nasty enemies. There are 3 main weapon types you can use in combat. First, the dual wield, which is an axe and a short sword. Then you've got a spear, and at last you've got a greatsword. The spear is ideal for keeping enemies at a safe distance. The dual wield setup is fast and deadly up close. And the greatsword, well, it's a giant blade that lets you feel like a heroic powerhouse crushing anything in your way. You know, the classic strength build. Aside from lacrima or souls, defeating enemies also earns you skill points. These can be used to unlock new moves or passive and active abilities for your chosen weapon. Each weapon had its own unique skill tree, and thankfully you can respec your points for free as many times as you like. This means you're always welcome to experiment with different weapons and playstyles, something I really appreciated. The game features several main and side missions. Side quests aren't mandatory, but they usually offer useful items, gear, and a bit of extra world building. To unlock them, just talk to various NPCs in your hub and use the teleporter to begin the mission. My only real complaint about side missions is the reuse of environments. You'll revisit the same areas you just cleared in the main story, and the enemies, and even bosses, are often recycled. If you're like me and don't enjoy too much repetition, you might find them a bit tedious. The main missions, however, are all unique. They each introduce new enemies, mini-bosses, and full bosses that ramp up in difficulty as the story progresses. That said, I found the game's pacing to be a bit off. With limited weapon variety and the repetitive structure, it eventually became tiresome. Honestly, I think the game could have ended a few hours earlier and I'd have been happier for it. Still, it's hard to complain about getting more content, so take this with a grain of salt. But for me, the biggest flaw was that it overstayed its welcome and made the repetition harder to ignore. Despite its flaws, the visuals, the artwork, music, fast-paced combat, and overall world design were all top-notch. I had a really good time playing this game, and if you're like me, addicted to the Soulsborne genre and also into anime aesthetics, I absolutely recommend First Berserker Khazan. It was a truly enjoyable experience that I will always remember fondly. Hope you enjoyed watching my video. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one. So until then, bye bye.